What's up guys, it's Louis here, hope you're doing great. In this video I'm going to give you guys a bit of an update on my latest project. If you haven't already, make sure to check out the first video to get a better idea of what is happening at this property and the plans that we have for it. I'm also going to share all the once-off expenses that I had to budget for to be able to successfully complete this project. We'll be covering the deposit, the transfer and registration cost, the holding cost, the ongoing renovation and repair cost. We'll also be covering the rezoning cost as well as the furnishing cost. If this is something that you are interested in, make sure to watch this video until the end. With that said, I wanted to give you guys a bit of an update on what has been happening at this property. We have been quite busy and we made really good progress with the renovation so far. So let's jump straight into it. In the previous video, you would have seen that this is the garage space that we are converting into a 3-bedroom flat. So what we've done in the meantime is tile out the entire garage. We also added expansion joints to avoid cracking of the tiles. We removed one of the garage doors and closed it up with a double brick wall, adding a window. We also chased the wall for the necessary plumbing and electric work. This is effectively going to be the bathroom area. We added the studs for the partitioning. Like you can see, the plumbing for the shower is basically done. And on this side of the room, we also added a window for some natural light. So these rooms are quite spacious and there's more than enough space for every person. We also installed the electricals for every room so that every room has a plug, and we'll also be adding lights in each and every room. When we move into the original living area space, again, we added the partitioning for all the separate rooms. There will be 3 rooms in this area. Again, we also tiled out the entire property and we started fixing some of the major cracks in the wall. These are some of the cracks that we are still busy patching up. There was quite a lot of cracks in the floor as well as the walls, which I would show you in just a minute. If we move on to this side, again, there's still busy tiling on this part, but this would effectively be the 3rd room. We added the partitioning. We also installed the electricals for each and every room. And let's move on to the main bedroom. This room obviously needs a lot of work. Like we can see, there's basically nothing done here yet. So this room still needs a lot of attention. When we move on to the 2nd bedroom, again, we can see that we tiled out the entire room. And we're busy fixing some of the cracks, and there's still a lot of things that we need to do in this room as well. Then we get to the 3rd bedroom. Again, this one is tiled, and this is one of the biggest issues that we faced in this property. We had a massive crack in this wall that we had to fix, and I'll show you guys what it actually looked like. When we move on to the kitchen, I decided to tile out the entire kitchen as well. We'll add a new backsplash and we'll retouch the kitchen cabinets just to give it a bit better look and feel. This is the crack that I spoke about. Like we can see here, we added 3 lintels to the wall to give it some structural support because it's very important to keep this building in a safe condition. Like I mentioned in the previous video, this property is bonded, and I had to put down a 10% deposit so that I can secure financing for this property. The deposit that I had to put down was 10% or 130,000 Rand because the property was purchased for 1.3 million Rand. I also had to transfer and register the property in my company's name, which cost an additional 62,000 Rand after the discount that my attorneys gave me. Most people will think these are the only expenses that you have to account for when buying a property like this, but unfortunately there's a whole lot more to account for. Of course, one of your biggest expenses that you need to account for is your renovation and repair costs. This is obviously still ongoing, and the budget that I set up and created for this project's renovation and repair work is around 260,000 Rand. This might change a bit as we progress in the project, but this is a good budget to set up for basic renovations. The idea would be to not over renovate this project and spend money where it won't make a difference. When it comes to renovations, I would suggest using a reputable company with good experience and good references. Of course, some of the work I can do on my own and save a bit of money, but it's going to cost me a lot of time, and time is money. So it's better to use someone that you know is professionals in their field that can help you with the most difficult work. Then we get to the next expense that a lot of people forget about. It's called holding costs. While I'm busy renovating this property, there's no one paying me an income, there's no rental amount, but I still need to pay my bond, my rates and taxes, my insurance, as well as security for this property. The holding cost would be around 65,000 Rand until I am able to rent out this property. So that's why cash flow with these projects is very important. Another question I received in my previous video is, how does the zoning of these student accommodation properties work? That's a very important part of this project because we have to rezone this property. It's obviously different in each and every municipality, and the rules and regulations is different. I'm situated in Bloemfontein and I need to adhere to the rules and the regulation of our specific municipality. I used a town planner to help me turn this property into a student accommodation legally so that we abide with all the rules. The cost for this is around 50,000 Rand, so it's also money that you need to set aside so that you can successfully and legally complete your project. So obviously this property needs to be furnished. For student accommodation, you obviously need to provide all the necessary appliances and furniture for the students. So I need 11 beds, 11 desks, 11 chairs, 11 desk lamps, so 11 of everything. I also need to buy cupboards for the newly built rooms. I have to buy microwaves, kettles, stoves, as well as fridges for the students. Another big expense is a washing machine. So there's a lot of stuff that you need to account for besides the renovation cost as well as your holding cost. The furnishing cost will end up being around 70,000 Rand, which is my budget at this moment. It can obviously change depending on what I actually pay for certain things. The total cost of this project is a lot more than just paying a deposit or paying your transfer and registration cost. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because a student accommodation investment is definitely not the easiest or the most simple property strategy to follow from the beginning. It took me quite a few properties to get to where I am today before I just jumped into these bigger investments. The ideal situation would be to start small and grow while you learn. The best idea would be to mitigate your risk and always make sure that you have enough cash flow to cover your shortfalls. At the end of the day, cash flow is really important, and if you want to learn how exactly I manage to continuously buy properties and take on large projects like this, please consider checking out my property course and one-on-one coaching. Make sure to check out the first video where I share a bit more details of the project when we started, and I'll see you guys in the next one.